Rugby World Rankings for 14th of March 2022. Not too much in terms of teams moving up and down, but there is a little bit going on the back end. But first, we need to give a big congratulations out to Georgia for qualifying yet again for a Rugby World Cup. Remember, they were in the pool with Australia, Wales, and Fiji again. It's like a carbon copy of the previous World Cup, which is unfortunate, but it also means we get a bit of that rivalry. I like the idea that Fiji and Georgia have played each other a little bit, like they played each other Awesome Nations Cup, they played each other Rugby World Cup, like two teams that their stereotype is one is all forwards and one is all backs. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's talented backs in Georgia and there's talented forwards in Fiji, without a doubt, but still, that's just how the stereotype goes. So, yeah, seeing those two teams go up against each other is always a bit of fun. So I, for one, am definitely looking forward to a bit of that at the next Rugby World Cup. But also, Spain. I finally got you on the board. Sorry you guys weren't on the board last time. I just didn't have a magnet prepared. You're all on the board now, and much more importantly, goodness gracious, you guys are booked in for 2023. Rugby World Cup Spain is going to be there. That is fantastic news. Tough pull with South Africa, Ireland, and Scotland. So not the easiest job, but man, well done for getting in. They got a win over Portugal at the weekend. So Spain will be at the Rugby World Cup. That is fantastic to see. There's just something about Rugby World Cups that gets us, all excited for those countries which we don't necessarily see that much rugby of. Like I, for one, have been guilty of not following the Tier 2 scene in Europe. But there we go. Happy days for both those teams. In terms of Rugby World Rankings, obviously South Africa is still number one. There's no changes there. Nobody's going to catch them. But New Zealand at number 2, 88.75, under threat from the French. Now, the Rugby World Rankings is going to be the furthest thing from the French mind this weekend when they take on England for a potential Six Nations and Grand Slam. First time, if they can get it done. It would have been done for like 10 plus years, I think. So, yes, France are really tracking along well. And if they happen to get that win over England, they will certainly pass New Zealand no matter what happens. They can't catch South Africa, but they will certainly pass New Zealand for the number 2 spot. So that would be kind of a happy, just like byproduct of winning the Six Nations, which is the ultimate goal for them and getting that Grand Slam. But yeah, France have been ticking along really well. They beat Wales away from home, so they're up from 87.84 to 88.55, so just behind the All Blacks there. Ireland are up into 4th. Remember, they got a win in their match over England away from home at Twickenham, so it was a bit of a boost for them. England, they dropped down. That's just what happens when you lose at home, and red cards, they don't matter a damn for the Rugby World Rankings. They don't care. All they care about is the result. So yes, Ireland's gain is England's misfortune. In terms of their possibilities, we can remember Ireland have got Scotland. They're not going to get much gain if they win that game, because the gap between them is, it's not quite 10 points, but it's almost there, and Ireland are at home, so they're not going to gain a heck of a lot. They will gain a little bit. For England, if they can beat France by like 16 points, I think they can pass France, but that's the only way I think they're going to be able to do that. I think if France lose, then they might drop to 4th or 5th, depending on what the margin is. But we'll kind of have to wait and see what Eddie Jones has got up his sleeve for that one. Aussies are still 6th, and Scotland and Wales have swapped places. Remember, the Scots got an away win in Italy, so they did take some points off the Italians, as if their world rankings don't suffer enough. They don't usually get to gain any points in the Six Nations because they have lost all their games for several years running. So Scotland are up from 81.75. So they did take a little bit of pointage off the Italians. Not a heck of a lot, but it's some. And the Welsh, with that loss at home, dropped back to a familiar 8th spot, which I feel like has been their home in recent times. Now, Wales have got the Italians. Because they're at home, the Welsh, they're not going to take nothing from that game. It's different because the Scots were away. They were able to take points off the Italians, but no matter what Wales win by, they're not going to take any points off the Italians. Or if the Italians win, believe it or not, they still can't close that gap to Georgia. Georgia's too far ahead of them. But it would certainly boost them up the rankings if the Italians could break their duck, but doesn't seem that likely at this point. Other teams, you got Argentina, Japan, Fiji, Samoa. They're all still there. Georgia's actually up because remember they had a win over, was it Romania? In the Tier 2 competition over in Europe. I think it was a pretty close game, but they're up from, what are they up from? From 72.72 to 73.47. The Spanish are also up in the back end from 68.05 to 68.57 with their win over Portugal. So, yeah, if Georgia get a win in their game this weekend, they are playing Spain. So this is 13th against 15th. Georgia can pass Samoa. So we may see Georgia really kind of tracking down the Fijians. Off the board, remember, we've still got USA, who's actually up into 17th on the back of Romania dropping down. Romania's in 18th, Uruguay 19th, Portugal 20, Canada 21, and so on. So, yeah, other games this weekend, you got Netherlands against Romania. Like I mentioned, Georgia, Spain, and then the 3 Six Nations games. So, yeah, plenty of rugby on this weekend. I guess the main story is going to be that third game in the Six Nations weekend, whether France can get that game done against England. Irish fans will be in a weird position of cheering on England for a change, for a chance at them kind of sneaking it. The Scots would love to play that kind of banana skin team as well, but Dublin's traditionally been a pretty tough place for them to go. And for the Welsh, well, they'll just be wanting to finish their Six Nations on a high against Italy. And Italy just chuck the kitchen sink at it, eh? There's nothing else for them to lose. But yeah, as I said, congratulations Spain and Georgia. We'll see you guys at the Rugby World Cup. There's still a few more teams to qualify. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the rankings. How fair or not do you think it is now that these teams have kind of been moving and shaking? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.